Hi guys, Nick Watts back for We Love Betting. It's week 2 of the Premier League and I'm pleased to say that I'm in profit already thanks to West Ham beating Cardiff and Manchester United beating Swansea, which I can't say I was that surprised at. Far more surprised at the price you could get for that, to be honest. Of course, denied the treble by the fact that Fulham won at Sunderland. Who would have thought that? Fulham winning away from home on the opening day of the season. But I did say I didn't rate Sunderland, so I guess I was kind of part way right there. 2 out of 3, I'll take it. That's profit for me. So I've banked that, and I'm looking at week 2 now. I have to say, I think it's a tougher coupon than week 1. Still a lot of things to be kind of ironed out about how teams are behaving this year, whether they're going all out attack or sitting back and looking to counter-attack teams. And I think there's a lot to be learnt over the coming weeks. But I'm taking a few punts here, I guess, just on some of that uncertainty. And I've actually got 2 of my 3 picks from the same game, which is Newcastle-West Ham. Certainly a lot of uncertainty about Newcastle, it seems, at the moment. Lots of negativity, going back to sort of Joe Kinnear in the summer and Cabaye, of course, and this bid from Arsenal, which is apparently disrespectful. And of course that 4-0 defeat at the hands of Man City, which, you know, a disastrous start to the season, you could say, for Newcastle. But then equally, was it really anything other than expected, especially when you're talking about going down to 10 men at City, a City that's buoyant with Pellegrini now in charge? I don't think that's a massively shocking result, and as long as the players can put that aside and move on, I don't think they've got a major problem on their hands. I still think Newcastle's squad is a lot better than the position they finished last season. There's no Europa League distraction this year, of course. Colaccini's back fit, and that's huge for Newcastle, no doubt about that. I really feel like they're in a better position to have a much better season. They just need to put game 1 out of their minds and move on. I actually think 13-10, which is available as I speak here on Thursday night, is a cracking price, to be honest, for a side that versus teams 8th and below last year, won 7, drew 1 and lost 4. And as I say, I kind of expect them to improve on that this season without those added distractions of Thursday night football. West Ham, meanwhile, weren't brilliant away at all last year, 17th in the away table. So one of the worst sides that stayed in the division in that sense. They did win at St James's Park, and I think I actually tipped Newcastle that day, so I'm hoping I'm not going to get burnt twice 2 years in a row, but we'll soon find out, because this is the way I'm going. Looking at West Ham here, they were undefeated versus 8th and below at home last season, but when you compare it to the same group of teams away from home, they won 3, drew 3 and lost 6, so 50-50 on whether they avoided defeat or not. And at 13-10, that makes Newcastle look pretty appetising, especially when you consider that West Ham lost to the likes of Sunderland, at Wigan and Reading, some of the worst home teams in the division. So looks a tidy price to me. I mentioned, of course, that my second bet is from this game too, and I think this is probably my bet of the weekend. I definitely expect there to be some sort of goals in this game, just purely because St James's Park has so often been a stadium where there are so many goals. I'm stunned to see evens and better, in fact, available out there in the market. 68% of Newcastle home games last season paid that over 2.5 goals. Only Man United and Wigan could top that on their own patch. Going back a season before that, 52%, okay, not such a massive figure on the home pitch, scored 3+ goals. But 2010-11, it was 68% again at St James's Park that had that over 2.5 goals mark. So definitely a stadium where the home fans are used to seeing goals, where punters can expect goals. So to think that it's 21-20 is available, and certainly even money in many different places available, that looks great. I mean, the only caveat, I guess, is that West Ham play a little bit more defensively away from home, but 47% of their away games went over 2.5, so certainly nothing to absolutely terrify you about that one. And I think with Newcastle's record for goals there, it looks set to continue. The final one, I have to say, I dithered over on what was a somewhat tough coupon as mentioned, but I've gone for a bit of a gamble, again talking about that uncertainty. Stoke v Palace in this one. So the question marks, I guess, really are both over both these sides. Is this going to be a new Stoke, a Stoke that actually plays a bit more attacking football? I mean, they got rid of Tony Pulis with that intention, surely, and Mark Hughes has come in with that brief. How much is he going to adhere to it, or is he just going to stick to the Pulis way with what is effectively a Pulis squad? You can understand why away to Liverpool, obviously they tried to shut up shop last week, but there's no excuses at home to Palace this time around. If he's really changing the philosophy at this club, he has to come out and attack them here, and that will be an interesting one. The only doubt, of course, is who's going to score the goals. Is Peter Crouch going to get back to goal-scoring ways? I don't have an awful lot of faith in the Stoke attack, but all part of that philosophy, and that's where the question mark lies for me. Equally, Palace, a very attack-minded team with Holloway, Ian Holloway, of course, their manager, a very attack-minded manager. He claimed, of course, that he'd learned his lesson from his Blackpool experience in the Premier League, and that he would be more cautious this time around with Palace. I still think his initial instinct is to attack, and I think his team's is too. You just look at their record in the Championship last season, second top scoring team behind Watford. I think they were only the 14th best defence, something like that. Not great defensively, and don't expect them to keep too many clean sheets this year. Again, wonder if the price on overs here is being influenced by the fact that of course, Stoke, but also the fact that Palace tried to shut up shop against Spurs and frustrate them. But again, does he see this game as winnable, Ian Holloway? Quite possibly, and I can see him probably mixing up his tactics, trying to put everyone behind the ball, etc., against the bigger sides, but actually trying to win these games more in a Blackpool kind of style. Maybe not quite as cavalier, but nonetheless, 65% of Palace games went over 2.5 goals last season, and so when it's 5-4 for overs here in such an early season with a bit of uncertainty about these teams, I'm willing to take a shot. So that's my third bet. Going back then very quickly, recapping in reverse order, it's Stoke Palace 5-4 for over 2.5 goals. Same bet in the Newcastle West Ham game. It's even money widely, and in some places 21-20, which surprises me, and then also Newcastle to win the game at 13-10. Good luck, everyone.